Welcome back to part 2 of the Whiteboard Game podcast, episode 4 of season 2.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the middle of talking about some extracts that don't have any lyrics.
No, not allowed. No speaking. No
whatsoever.
Speaking.
So that is what we're doing. We are moving on to extract 6, and I believe, am I guessing yours? I'm guessing yours.
I'm quite distracted by, as we said in the first half, at the time of recording, I think it's safe to say it's probably the hottest day in the UK thus far this year. Not ever. That was probably 3 or 4 years ago, I think. We're all going to die, climate change. And because it's that certain weather, people just have to be outside, they have to be doing things. And that's especially a problem when you have a neighbour who has to be doing things anyway. Lovely guy, but has to be busy all the time. So if you can hear some kind of buzzsaw action going on, that's him. That is him.
Enjoy the neighbourhood ghostings.
I guessed last, so you will guess my number 6.
Cool. Remind myself of what it was. There we go. It was another one which I didn't have a composer or musician for. So I wasn't really sure what it was. Just realised how mismashy my answer is. Let me change that. There we go. Looks a little bit more eloquent now. Even though it probably won't get me any more points. I didn't know who it was, so I went for one of your top dogs, John Cage.
I love John Cage.
In the off chance that maybe it was, I don't know, an experiment he once did once upon a time. And it sounded a little bit like this. Guessed it was called Chimes, because there were chimes.
There were chimes, that's true.
I say what I hear. Drone/ambient, and then 1964. I had a more recent date there, and then I realised John Cage wouldn't have composed that in this time. Not that I definitely think it is John Cage, but to make my answer a bit more coherent. There you go.
Get close to this. I'm going to give you 1 point.
Okay,
give you 1 point.
You.
This is the second and last instance, in my opinion, that I've been very cruel to you. Wait, we'll see, maybe. There is a YouTube channel I've encountered. And it is called Should Be Asleep. And it just posts obscure ambient recordings, and it is one of these things that you stumble upon and you go, you are going to be with me for the rest of my life now, thank you very much. Because the stuff that shows up there, it's obscure, it's peaceful, it's pretty, it has lovely artwork most of the time, and you've got a lovely little community in the comments as well. Of people just coming together going, yep, this is what I want things to sound like. I'm glad you're all here with me. Very good. This is by a man called Warren Burt. It's called Improvisation in 2 Ancient Greek Modes. It is off a record called, I think is it just Music for Tuning Forks? I think. There's other instruments on there, but it's mostly tuning forks. I said 1987. I said ambient post-minimalism microtonal as well, because it is. Cool. Do I have anything to add? Well, okay, I'll give you the lore behind it. This was when I was discussing with a certain friend by the name of James, when I would be seeing him next. And we'd originally planned a Wednesday, and he said, on the day he said, actually, no, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I have a pub quiz I'm doing with family where I live, which is in towards Kent. And I said, well, I'm not working tonight. I'll come and meet you. And he went, are you sure? I was like, just over an hour on the train to get to me. You'll be here for like 2 hours and you'll need to get home for dinner or a reasonable hour. So you'll basically be travelling for the same amount of time that you're actually here. And I went, screw it. And it was on that train in towards him that I listened to this. And it was just yeah, man. Tuning forks, man. Who'd have thought? It's immaculate vibe. Glorious, peaceful, The resonance. Ooh. I like random percussion. I particularly like random percussion that rings. It's one of the main reasons why I have a glockenspiel, because it sounds tingy and tangy, and I like percussion that tings and tangs. 1 point. Yes.
Thank you. It's an interesting extract, yeah. I couldn't discern the year. I initially had like a 2013 one, because I thought it could be just some completely random thing, but Warren Burt.
I know nothing else about him other than the fact that he shows up on the Should Be Asleep YouTube channel, which I am subscribed to now, and I'm going to warn you in advance, you probably will be tormented by stuff off this channel for many games to come. I'm sorry.
Maybe I need to check it out before that impending result happens.
Maybe what I'm trying to get you to do is join me on Ambient Supremacy. I've succumbed. I'm in it. So, your number 6. I put a... Let me spell that correctly. I put a producer that you've already mentioned, which may mean that is wrong, or maybe it's like a hiding in plain sight kind of thing. I don't know. As I've said, all the guesses I made for this game, probably not correct, but I'm quite proud of them, because I think I've used good logic. I said DJ Shadow. I think there's a track called Changeling off of Introducing. I don't know if it's that one. I haven't listened to it in a while. It's very good, but I haven't listened to the album in a while. 1997, and because it's DJ Shadow, or I think it is, I put instrumental hip hop. I have donutted you. That's all I'll say.
I'm not going to donut you, but I'm going to give you 1 point.
Okay, if you're sure.
It is, DJ Shadow's a very, very good guess.
Thank you. Thank you. That makes me happy. Thank you.
It is by... Now, this is... I know you like to do your YouTube core stuff.
Cool.
This is a YouTube core.
No, I feel honoured.
Sort of thing.
I feel honoured to have it done to me. I feel honoured.
It's by a producer called Speedometer.
No. Hang on.
Keep talking. Private, which you might notice because it's got like, I'm not sure what the building is, but it's like a big sort of sphere dome.
Is it green?
Sort of thing. It's like a greeny sort of colour, and the dome's like white, and it's got like a staircase up to it. You've probably listened to it before.
YouTube called this. I've listened to this. This is wonderful. I clearly don't remember it.
Track is called Nightboat From Alaska.
Yeah.
It's the first track off of it. I thought bit sort of dodgy, because chances are you may have seen this come up and you think, okay, it's interesting, I'll click on it. Listen to like the first 2 minutes, so you get an idea of what the first track is like, and then you click off. So using the first track is more dangerous.
Yes.
Because you're more likely to get it. But it was my favourite.
What did you think of the album?
So it's not stuck with me massively.
No, I agree.
I thought it was all right. Not bad. I mean, it's sort of run-of-the-mill down-tempo, I feel. Which is what I put the genre as, / new jazz, which is what Rate You Music put, which I can sort of understand. 2000 was the year it came out. I think this guy's Japanese.
I think so, from what I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, how would I describe this track? It's like you've got sort of, I don't know, ghostly synth sort of sounds going on at points. There's what sounds like a girl's voice sort of humming, but it could just be a synth. And then it's got some cool percussion, sort of like some very chill, sort of hip-hoppy, but not really. It's not instrumental hip-hop.
No. Yeah, it was more let me go with my artist guess than anything else.
And then it transitions into the very sort of energetic percussion bit, which is more, I guess, new jazzy sort of stuff. And that's sort of the reason why it reminded me of DJ Shadow a bit, because it's like his album Introducing, which I was debating whether to use a track off of that in this game. I ended up not doing so. But there's a lot of tracks on there which you go into it thinking it's just going to be an instrumental hip-hop album. When you listen to it and you go, oh, this is an ambient bit.
Yes.
Oh, and this bit is like, it's almost sort of like breakbeat sort of stuff.
Well, it's why it's such an impressive album. It's a lot more diverse than a first listener would expect it to be.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing I will never believe DJ Shadow when he says it is when he says he wasn't trained in drums, or like he doesn't know how to play drums. And I think that, and I go, but how is it right when you do your drum chops?
Yeah.
They're so like as a drummer would want it to sound in terms of how he does it right. I think a good example of that is on the track you mentioned, Changeling, where it's in 7/4.
Yeah.
And the drum groove he uses isn't a pre-existing drum groove from a track. He's taken a sample and taken the hits and then rearranged them into a groove. And it's so comfortably 7/4, you think you have to be a drummer to know
to have it
how that sort of feels. Genius album. I recommend.
What this reminds me of is Stravinsky going, "Oh no, I didn't steal any melodies for the Rite of Spring," and then one day someone finds a diary.
Yeah.
Oh, it's stolen melodies. How interesting.
All of it. But yeah, no, it's very good. And Speedometer reminded me of it, and I mean, I love introducing, so anything that reminds me of it, I'm probably gonna like realistically. It was chill. Yeah, I'm not a massive YouTube call listener. Every now and then I'll get to something every now and then. I've said the same thing twice. But when I do, I thought, when we came to this game, I thought it'd be good to use something like that.
Yeah.
So, even if I can YouTube call you instead, that would be fun. So, yeah.
No, I've enjoyed having that happen to me, especially because I know the album and I was YouTube called by it. I just haven't used it. I like the album art.
Yeah, do you know what? I think that a lot of what YouTube core is just the album art. And it draws you in and you think, okay, that's cool. But yeah, 1 point for you.
Thank you. I will take the 1 point graciously.
Cool. Okay. The next one felt a bit vaporwavy, sort of. Wasn't totally sure where to look for it though.
We've spoken about how saturated a genre that is. There's so many artists.
But you want to put down an artist you are happy with in terms of like you think it's sort of their sound. I went with someone who is probably a bit obvious, and so it's probably wrong. I feel I put Telepath. I said it was called because it sounds like there's a vocal sample in the background that says that. I sort of scattergunned my genres. I said slush wave, vaporwave, ambient, in the hopes that one of them quantifies, and then I put 2015.
So, it does sound like someone saying I agree with you. This is a 19-minute track. Okay. So when I was talking about to you, and I was trying to find like a high point, like a bit that sounded particularly good, and I like the bit I've chosen. I like the particular melody. I like the fact that you get this very, perhaps as you put, slushy, like someone sighing in the background. I like that. This is Telepath. And I've chosen it because I think it's very funny that in the last game you caught me out with something off of Seikan Seiku, the most popular of his releases, arguably. Only for me to then discover, since that game, that he has returned and released something this year.
Wow.
He's back.
Nice.
He's back. I can't remember what I said. It was like a something summer last game. I don't know if I said it was like a vaporwave summer or a telepath. I said Panda Bear.
Panda Bear Spring.
Panda Bear Spring. We're back in a vaporwave summer, guys. We're getting into vaporwave. Telepath is back. He's back. Is it his best work? No. In my opinion, probably not. If I'm just being straight with you. Is it still excellent? Yes. What it is it's probably his most polished album. You can tell that he's mastered these synths and these production techniques and whatever more than ever before, kind of thing. It sounds good. I think he's had more adventurous releases though. Luke Lorilla, I think that's his name. The opening track is gorgeous. He does have a way of being able to make something that is 19-20 minutes long pretty listenable, unless it is Mukayate. which maybe you will get to one day. 53 minutes, Chris. To this, I listened to it 3 years ago. I can still hum you the melody. Still do it. I can't do that with most other things I listened to 3 years ago once. No, it's good. It's more so the fact that he's back that I like than the album. It's called That, as you can see.
Yes.
Is that... I don't know what alphabet that is.
Japanese?
I would presume Japanese,
It's Japanese.
It's the first track off his newest 2025 release. I put Slushwave, Dream Punk. You've covered all the bases as well. So that's why I'm going to give you 2 points.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Telepath Summer, guys and girls. Telepath Summer. So, we've come back to your mystery alt rock. Well, one of them that you've chosen for this game. So, I've gone back into my guesses that I'm fairly satisfied with. And I've gone into the Chris Bank. What alt rock is Chris into? So I put Radiohead. I didn't put Radiohead. I put Pavement. Tried to think what it sounded like. Sounded the kind of summery, but like night time in the summer. So I put Summer Sundown.
Okay, yeah.
1994 Slacker Rock.
Nice. Yeah, it does. I mean, this album does feel like it's sort of like a sundown.
I think we smashed it.
Yeah,
we might have smashed it.
You got 2 points.
Come on, thank you.
It is indeed Pavement. The track is called For Sale, not the Kendrick one. The Preston School of Industry. And then hyphen Jessamine. I don't really know what that is, but I'm not sure if it's related to something I'll get into in a second. But,
okay.
and then, Slacker Rock, Indie Rock. So I put... This stage, it's less sort of Slacker Rock and more indie.
Sure.
But I put Slacker Rock still because this is like a demo recording, basically.
Okay.
So you can hear them not really always playing on beat or in tune.
Not trying very hard.
In 2022, because again, it's a deluxe.
Getting me on these
edition.
Deluxe releases, man. You're getting me.
This is a track that there's a video on YouTube. Not sure if it's got something to do with Lollapalooza, maybe, but they're doing it. I'm not sure if it's for like a Dutch broadcasting service or something, but they're basically recording a video.
Good start.
And the video is partially interviews of the members individually. Which is nice, and also partially them coming up with a song.
Oh,
sort
cool!
of on the spot.
That's quite cool.
Which also again really nice because I think the reason they made it was it sort of goes a bit deeper into their songwriting process and that sort of thing. It's really interesting. The thing that they ended up coming up with was a Scott Camberg tune, which I've played few Scott Camberg songs to you now, I think. Maybe arguably more than Malcolmus ones, which I really like. I probably prefer Malcolmus's songwriting, but I think a lot of Scott Camberg stuff is it spawns from a cool riff.
Yeah.
And this is a cool riff. Not hard to play as well. And the thing I find weird is it's called For Sale, the Preston School of Industry, because when they did the making of or whatever, Scott Camberg does sing over it. Like he does sing lyrics, and one of the lyrics are "For Sale, the Preston School of Industry."
Okay.
So you think, okay, and they do like a whole version at the end of the video, and it's sort of meant to, well, as in like he sings all the lyrics on it at the end of the video. And for some reason in the version that made it onto the Terror Twilight Deluxe, which is called Farewell Horizontal, I think, or something like that, there's just no lyrics on it.
Oh.
And I'm like, you know what, I really like the tune, but it would have been cool if
I could read what was happening.
there were some lyrics on there. But and I think that the Jessamine part of it, I'm not sure if that's to do with the recording, like the video recording station that they did it for, maybe.
Okay.
But But it is a really good video, and I really like it. And I think the interviews of them individually are really cool too. I'm a big fan of Mark Eyebold on the bass.
Yeah.
So watching interviews of him talking about it is very cool. Yeah, won't bore you with too much more Pavement.
No, you're not boring me.
But yeah, Terror Twilight does sort of sound like a bit of a sundown.
I suppose.
Ironically,
yeah,
when it
Terror
says Twilight.
Yeah, a bit like a scared of what may
as in
come
like
tomorrow.
but as in like the music of it, yeah. Yeah, it's good. So there you go.
We're hitting home all the bases for.
Yeah, I was going to say you're batting 100% on the Chris Core.
Yes, true. True.
Tracks that I've used here.
The Whiteboard game does work, folks. And then, funnily enough, when you happen to spring on your friends something they would never have heard of, they probably won't get it. So there you go.
Couldn't suss out who this was, really. It reminded me of Najabe's, but just less percussion. So I put Najabe's. So it's called In the Mood.
You'll see why I find that funny. You'll see.
Okay. Lounge jazz. It feels lounge jazzy, but I probably should have covered more bases than just lounge jazz, but we'll see. It's very jazzy, that's the thing, and I couldn't really tell when. So it could be like, I don't know, like minimalist jazz, maybe is sort of what it feels. I don't know any minimalistic jazz composers though. 2005.
Well, you say you don't know any minimalist jazz composers. Meet some right now.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a point for the genre.
Thank you. That's nice.
So we spoke earlier about having things recommended to us on YouTube and it being the album art that pulls you in. This is the one time the title's done it for me. Okay. So this is by a group called The Necks, as in the thing that attaches your head to your chest.
Okay.
The Necks, multiple of them. I laughed because you wrote In the Mood. This is a 52-minute piece album called Sex, released in 1989. I said avant-garde jazz, minimalism, or cool jazz because it's quite cool. It's a bit cool,
sexy jazz.
I don't know if it's meant to be one big joke because it is just incredibly repetitive. I pity the bassist in this because he's the one who doesn't change at all. It's like Pachelbel's Canon, where it's just for the whole time he's just going dum 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 for 50 minutes. 50 minutes.
Wow.
And the pianist has a bit of freedom, doesn't do anything too crazy. Percussionist has some freedom, doesn't do anything too crazy. I don't know if there's a violin at some point, doesn't do anything too crazy. And generally, it's a piece of music that doesn't do anything too crazy. It's like ambient jazz in a way. I imagine it's very good to just have on in the background if you'd prefer the sound of cool jazz to Japanese synth ambient kind of thing. I do enjoy it. I do think it's a good listen, and I probably will come back to it and their stuff. I'll listen to more of their stuff. It's quite unique, as you say. I don't recognize minimalist jazz from anywhere else. It is unique.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just one big joke though, and that's not a bad thing. I just haven't figured it out because it's so repetitive. And nothing really happens for 50 minutes. And like all the other instruments are trying to do things, but the bass keeps plodding along. I don't know if it's one big sex joke in that sense. Nothing happens for 50 minutes, but it's kind of chill. Which would be quite impressive considering it's a debut release, I think. So it'd be quite a statement to just have a 50-minute album that's just one big joke.
Yeah.
But I will listen to more of their stuff when I get around to it. I'll let you know if it's like this. Because I'm kind of into it. It is unique. I'm into it. 1 point.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, interesting.
Yes, so for your number 8, I'm predicting more Chris Core, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Because, I have to reference something. I have to draw a conclusion for each extract from some place. Whoopsie.
Yeah, you have to draw on some sort of influence.
Exactly. So drawing on the bank of Chris, I've gone for Black Moth Super Rainbow. I said Metamorphosis because that sounds like something natural. Well, it is. And they like nature. I said 1999 Electronica, Folktronica, because it also sounds like there are non-electronic instruments in there. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you've done a good job there. Too recognisable a sound. Black Moth Super Rainbow.
Good.
This track is called Unknown Potion.
Cool.
Don't really know. Again, neo psychedelia, indie-tronica. Those are the two things that Rate Your Music told me.
Yeah.
And I trust it more than Google, because Google half the time will just say alternative.
It's really simple, the Google stuff.
Not useful for this game.
No.
2025. This is a new one.
Oh, it's not. I thought you got me with another. I was going to say you got to stop with this, man. I'm going to lose my temper. But
it's not archival.
Brand new,
genuinely new. Yeah,
we've got brand new Telepath, brand new Black Moth Super Rainbow. What a summer, guys!
It's a good year.
What a summer! New Panda Bear. It's all happening.
It's a good year, my friend.
These are the days.
It reminds me more of, because I feel like the one that I used last month was Melting on the Meadow, which was very like Starter People, like first album, which has its own unique sound. Whereas this feels more like their sort of late noughties, early 2000s sort of sound. I'm thinking albums like Eating Us and Cobra Juicy, where the music that they're making feels much more band oriented, which is what I suppose they always were. Really, is they're always a band, but the first album to me always feels like it's just a guy with his synths. But it's a really nice track. I always found that a lot of what I didn't like about Eating Us was that a lot of the tracks were just forgettable. I liked the aesthetic it was going for. And to be fair, I think that's a lot of the criticism of Black Moth Super Rainbow. It's got its own aesthetic, and what they're doing is really interesting. But musically, you just not always stuff to latch onto, and I guess parts of it feel samey in a way. Don't really know how to describe it. If you listen to Eating Us, you might see what I mean. Like there are absolutely standout tracks. Yeah, or hear it. Absolutely standout tracks like Smile the Day After Today. Yeah. Maybe one of my favourite instrumental tracks ever. It's absolutely gorgeous. And there's also Twin of Myself, which is a lovely track. And it's those which you listen to and you go, oh, they're sick. Yeah. But then a lot of the other tracks, I don't know, it just doesn't have the same energy. And they feel more like filler. And so I'm listening to a track like this and I'm going, it's gorgeous. This would not be filler on Eating Us and it would fit right in. I enjoyed Cobra Juicy a lot more. I think a lot of the tracks had their own identity. And were just more exciting. But to be fair, I say it's that era. I don't really know if they ever left that sort of era. I've listened to their later albums like Panic Blooms, and I wasn't big on it, but I think it still had that general sort of sound and vibe. So I guess, they've never really left that sort of sound, and here they are in 2025 doing it again. They put out another song this year. Maybe they're releasing a new album this year. Who knows? That'll be exciting if they do. And I'll look forward to that. But
well, look, can I tell you something?
Okay.
I've gone on to Rate Your Music. Leave the 6th of June clear in your diary, is all I'll tell you.
What day is the 6th of June? That is a Friday. Well, I've picked the best day to release an album on. Okay.
Leave that clear.
Black Moth Super Rainbow Summer.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What a year, man. What a year.
Yeah, 2 points for you.
Thank you very much. Let's not forget that it was started off with New Idiot Twin. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, we put out something this year. Do you remember? Not been that long ago.
No, it's been just about a month. There's no time at all.
Okay. We on to number 9?
Number 9.
Number 9. Oh, this is one that I was very excited to see.
Yes, you enjoyed this one audibly.
It's really good, yeah.
Tell me about it. It's really good.
Those ones that you listen to and you go, so unique, but also inspired, and you're just listening to it going, I don't know where you'd even come across this.
Yes.
And so my answer, do you know what? I could see this person making something like this.
Okay.
But at the same time, I'm not convinced it's them. I've gone with Oneohtrix Point Never. I said it was called Bouncing because it made me bounce. Made me want to bounce. It's fun.
Yeah.
I said glitch/dance. The main, I guess, feel of the instrumentation was glitchy, and so that's why I went with glitch. But 2017. It reminded me of because I had some sort of bass that was sort of like, I don't know, dancey. I was listening to like Deep House or something.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I'm going to give you 2 points.
Thank you.
This is Oneohtrix Point Never.
Wow.
Yes, you smashed it. It's called Zebra, which I think is a great title because the way it does glitch, like the black and white stripes maybe is what I think, which I think is genius. 2013, so you're just out. I've given you glitch because I agree with you, but I have put also progressive electronic, sound collage, and also I like this phrase, but I don't know what it means. I see it on Rate Your Music and places. Utopian virtual.
Utopian virtual.
It sounds very futury, and this is a very futury album. This is R+7.
Oh, okay, yes.
And I think you have hit it on the head that it is so unique. I think that's probably why people flock to it. When you talk about Oneohtrix Point Never, a lot of people talk about R+7. And I think the reason is because it's just so unlike anything else. As I've said before, not my favourite of his releases.
Okay.
I am a sucker for Russian Mind.
Oh, yes.
It is S tier, like Berlin School progressive synth. S tier. Just hypnotic. It's wonderful. But there's so much going on. It's a lot of ear candy, the whole album. It's just so interesting. I love this track. If it stayed like this for the whole 6 minutes, I think it would be outstanding. It is outstanding, but it really slows down for the final 3.5. Okay. It all drops away and goes into something else, which is the progressive bit, which is still cool. But I'm like, the whole time I'm thinking, I'm enjoying this. Bring back the first bit.
Keep it going, man. Yeah,
the first bit was so intense. Or just cut it after 3 minutes or whatever. It's so good. The first time I listened to this, it was just like a thing of, because you're there. It gets onto this track and it opens. It's like he creates strobe lighting without even doing anything visual. It's insane. Very fun album. I think if anyone is interested in electronic music or making electronic music, just to know that there are other possibilities of electronic music out there, I recommend this album. Because, as you say, it's not just unique, it's inspired. And it's inspiring because you go, I didn't even know you could do that with these things. And the way sound collage is handled. When samples come in and voices come out of the darkness. Like, you get moments of silence. I can't remember what track is it? I think there's a track called Problem Areas. I like that one a lot. And it kind of slows down a bit, and then you suddenly just get a voice that just goes, wait. And then everything comes back in. It's just, very fun album. I do recommend it. But Russian Mind superiority. Sorry. 2 points.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely still need to get into Oneohtrix Point Never.
Oneohtrix Point Never.
Oneohtrix Point Never.
Yes.
Oh, never forget. I've had a couple of lucky artist guesses this round. It's been pretty,
the point is,
good.
it's not luck. It's the fact that the game works. You start to recognise things.
Maybe, yeah. That's the optimistic way of looking at it.
I mean, if you want, it can just be luck, if you want. I know that this one's wrong, because we've already had them come up now. It's when earlier in the first half, I said, well, I'm only sighing, not because I'm disappointed with my guess, but because I know what's going to come later. I put Godspeed You Black Emperor, which I now know it's not. I put Static, because I thought it was Godspeed You Black Emperor. 2002, post-rock, here we are. Yes.
This is your most hated ambient composer.
Look, I know who you're going to say, because the inside joke is huge. Before you get onto it, let me say this. I don't hate him. he's just not the best. He's just second place. That's it. That's just it.
Well, he's teamed up with a pretty prolific guitarist on this one which I think you would agree is a phenomenal guitarist.
Me.
Close.
Ah.
Robert Fripp.
I love Robert Fripp, man.
Robert Fripp.
Love Robert Fripp.
And he's with Brian Eno. And this is the title track off of that album Evening Star, which is an album they did in 1975. And I've just put ambient. I'm not really sure what other drum quantifiers you can put there, but
I'll let you figure out whether post-rock counts.
No, I don't think I'll give you post-rock.
That's fair.
I'll have to give you a donut for that, unfortunately.
No, fine.
A donut for a donut. How does that sound?
Oh, you calling me a donut?
Yeah, it's an intro. I listened to this album a bit ago because I tried working through some of Eno's discography. It sort of ignited when I listened to Low for the first time. I loved how him and David Bowie worked together on that album. And it led me here, which I think was I feel like there's albums where if it's like two big names that you know and you think are good, then you sort of have to listen to an album where they're both on it.
Yeah.
There was an album which I wasn't massively fussed on by Fenej and Ryuichi Sakamoto of Yellow Magic Orchestra.
Yeah, okay.
And that's one that I see, them two did one. Okay, I sort of have to get to that at this point. Like even the recent Fred Again and Brian Eno album, I think, I know it hasn't been, applauded greatly, but it's still one which I think, I feel there's just more impetus to get to something like that when there's multiple big dogs on it. So this was always one I was going to get to. It's... I don't remember a lot of what goes on in it. I feel like it's sort of two halves, and the first half is you've got tracks like this, really, that are sort of ambient, and a lot of it feels Robert Fripp led with his guitar. And then the second half is like a 5-part thing called something to do with metals. I can't remember the name of it. It's like an insight into metals.
An index.
An index into metals, An index of metals. Which I wasn't really fussed on.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of stuff, especially I remember when I listened to Apollo by Brian Eno, where the ambient is a lot eerier and a lot more uncomfortable, which I'm not actively against. I just find I enjoy a lot more the very pretty ambient stuff that Brian Eno does. And so, that's why I was really drawn to this track. Robert Fripp makes great use of beautiful guitar chords and
I love
harmonics.
Robert Fripp, man.
He's good. There are lots of nice harmonics that he uses as well, very pretty. And then, Eno comes in with some interesting synth sounds. I feel like you can, if you know a bit of Eno's sort of synth preferences, every now and then you come across a track and you can go, that's an Eno synth right there. I don't have too much what to say. Again, I wasn't massive on the album, but there was tracks like this which I did think were really nice and worth a use in this game. I would say. I
agree.
So there you go. Sorry that you have got a donut. But
No. We've traded them. That's fine. My again, I don't hate Brian Eno. I just it's like Arsenal fans. It's like, you just second place is fine. Just accept it. It's fine. We can't always be top. Just so happens that there is a mighty fine Japanese gentleman who I prefer, and that's okay. And that's okay.
Yeah. There you go. The last ones.
Yes, the final showdown. This is for all the marbles. We don't have marbles. I probably do have marbles somewhere. Couldn't tell you where.
This is odd.
Yeah.
And it made me think swans, so I put swans, but we've already had a extract from swans, so unless you use them twice, which I don't think you have.
I wouldn't do that in this game, no.
So that is a shame.
Sorry.
That it's not going to be swans, but it's fine. Not sure who else I would put if it's not swans. Like maybe it's all got caretaker vibes, I guess.
You might kick yourself, but we'll get there. You might.
Okay. It is fine. I will leave it as is. I saw her standing, which is the title I put. One word off of the very first Beatles track, right? Was it the first? It's the first off of their first album. Actually, I don't think it was the first that they made.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I have a feeling the first that they ever made was "Love Me Do."
Possibly.
And not I Saw Her Standing.
What an opener. That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Anyways, I said plunderphonic / experimental. Feel free to dock me a point if you think that's a bit washy. And 95. I only put 95 because it felt like something that might be off of Soundtracks for the Blind, which isn't saying too much because I gather the idea that there's a lot of different stuff on that album. But yeah.
I'm going to give you 1 point.
Thank you.
For the title. But, I think it'd be fairly fair to guess I Saw Her Standing, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just I Saw Her.
Okay.
But you've got all the words in there, so
thank you.
I've got no reason to not give it to you. Infinity Frequencies.
Yes.
Okay. 2014.
Makes sense.
I put Death Dream there again. I've already bemoaned Death Dream once. Broken Transmission is the one I like to use. Because it is incredibly repetitive, and no one does that repetitive eeriness like Infinity Frequencies, in my opinion. I love Between Two Worlds. I think it's a magnificent album. This is not off that. This is from his Computer Death trilogy. So he's got Computer Death, Computer Decay, and Computer Afterlife. This is from Computer Decay. I think it's the best out of the three.
Okay.
Probably is then my second favourite of his releases. It's just so spooky, man. It's just so spooky. It's great. It's so... Again, I'll use the word evocative again. I love the way he handles samples. Quite rare, this track, in that he allows it to loop and he exploits that before giving you the whole thing right at the end, which I don't think I can't think of another example of him doing that. I understand that you get a lot of criticism with his style of music. People come to it and just go, yeah, but he hasn't done anything. He just kind of takes a sample, cuts it at like 5-6 seconds, and just loops it 50 times. I don't think it's that simple. I think that's quite a reduction.
Yeah.
I think it's not as simple as him looping something. Otherwise, it wouldn't sound this mysterious. I think he's done other things to it. But again, he's very clearly astute with his sample choices. He knows where to look. He knows how to look. He knows what to do with them. If, speaking to you or to anyone listening, if you want spooky, if you happen to listen to, if you stumbled across, because it's not just, this is like celebrity YouTube core Between Two Worlds, how popular it is in terms of YouTube recommendation stuff. If you happen to listen to that and enjoy it, listen to the other stuff. It's all pretty good. But the Computer Death trilogy is banging, particularly Decay.
Okay.
Cool album art as well. All of his album art's quite cool.
Yeah.
All of his album art's quite cool. I have no more to say about it. I just thought opportunity to talk about a different Infinity Frequencies track and album I quite like. So there you go.
Absolutely cool.
And then we come to the very final hurdle. I think it's poetic that, we've spoken about this before, that over the many instances of the Whiteboard Game, there are certain artists maybe I or you will come to when we don't really know what to say, and it starts to become a bit of a joke at a certain point, that like, even though the other person's never used this musician, the other person keeps guessing them because they think, I think that's what that person sounds like. This is one that I very often used to come to for electronic stuff.
Okay.
And I have listened to 2 of their albums now. So I kind of have an idea of what they sound like, but again, it was a while ago. I listened to them now, a few months. But let's run it back. I said Flying Lotus.
Yeah.
I'm certain there's a song called Do the Astral Plane. I'm certain. Which means it's probably not that one. But I said 2017 IDM/glitch.
Interesting, okay.
It's probably not Flying Lotus.
No.
But I mean, before you tell me, I'm well aware the two artists I thought maybe Chris will use them, he should do, are Aphex Twin and Boards of Canada. I don't think this is going to be either of them either, but we'll see.
No, I'm surprised I didn't choose I guess I think I felt at some point that a lot of Boards of Canada tracks might be, I don't know, a bit too easy. Or like you might get it. And I didn't have much more to add with what I was saying. This is, I'll give you 1 point first of all.
I'll take the 1 point. Trading points at the end. That's right.
It's by an artist who, now.
Okay, this is either going to boggle me or I'm going to go, who?
No, as in you might get annoyed with me for beating you to this artist.
Oh, okay. Well, look, this is exciting.
This is a prolific artist.
Look, I'm very proud with how I've been doing with my list, so I think this kind of thing hurts me less now.
Okay, that's good.
But, well, we'll see.
We'll see. Tim Hecker.
No, that does annoy me. That does annoy me. I was looking forward to this. Yeah, it does annoy me. Oh, well. You can't take it with you, can you? Oh, well. Okay.
The track is I'm Transmitting Tonight.
A bit forward.
It is a bit forward, yeah. Yeah, I said glitch less ambient, yeah. Glitch is the main thing here. You can clearly hear some sort of sound that is
sort
of perpetually sort of playing.
Very briefly, I don't know if you remember, I gave you an extra from an album called... Oh, gosh. No, sorry, keep going. I'll find it. I'll tell you in a bit.
Yeah, ambient I also put as well. That's the big Tim Hecker sort of... He's an ambient composer. 2003 is when it came out. It's off of one of his most popular albums. The only one that I'd sort of known about before sort of... like looking at all of his other
I know
music
which one you're going to say.
Was Virgins.
Yes.
Which is the one with like a draped something in white cloth.
Very eerie
cover. Church. Very eerie. And I'd seen that pop up quite a bit. But this is off of one of his first albums called Radio Amor. I think is how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I
nice
love
cover.
Radio, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of thinking. Yeah, Tim Hecker's one of those composers who, before I'd sort of look, it was a little bit like, what was the other musician that we talked about? Lil Ugly Mane, I think, when we talked about, we just have no idea, as in like a basis of what this musician makes, like the sort of music that they make. I had no idea what Tim Hecker made. I thought it could have been anywhere from some sort of eerie chamber folk to noise music.
Yeah.
I had no idea what he did.
Oh, yeah.
And it was only when I watched another one of those top 50 radio music songs, but it was for ambient this time.
Interesting. Cool.
And his stuff just kept coming up, and I thought, oh, he is an ambient composer.
Yeah.
Okay, I had no idea that he was. And this was one of the highest ones, and it's one of the ones that immediately caught my ear. I was like, yes, this is awesome. It reminds me a little bit of your Oneohtrix Point Never one, because it's like it's an ambient sort of sounding thing, but it also doesn't sound like anything else really.
Yes. Well, this is funny you say that. It's one of the random Death Dream things I wasn't recommended personally. I found being vouched for. I don't know if you remember. I'm certain I've given you part of it before. An album called Tired by an artist called Emotion X, which sounds quite similar to this actually. The way the glitch is handled. That's the only reference point I have, and that's quite obscure. So it goes to show, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. I think it did remind me a bit of Fenege, a touch. I think in terms of, like, I'm trying to gauge what the sounds are. Reminded me a bit of Chateau Rouge by Fenege. Definitely not shoegaze.
No.
Yeah, I don't really understand how Tim Hecker does what he does, but yeah, and just from, I guess, looking at how well his albums are received. He seems really acclaimed.
Yeah, liked.
Really liked, yeah. And I can understand why from listening to this album. It's a lot of different ambient sort of stuff. I mean, for 2003, it's probably quite early to be doing odd sort of stuff like this. You know, it's glitchy, but it's not comfortable.
No.
Ambient, but it is pretty.
Yes.
Yeah, I look forward to getting into more Tim Hecker. He just seems like a really interesting artist.
I think that's it. Very interesting artist. I couldn't put it a better way.
Yeah. I'll give you a point.
Thank you
for that one.
Less rush to get to him now, I suppose. I don't feel like I've got to flock there. You know, will do eventually. Don't know what's next on the list for electronic stuff. Actually, no. If I include what I'm listening to right now, I'm on a vaporwave guy at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not going to guess who that is, but
it's Telepath again.
Telepath 2.
Yes. Well, to be fair, he's got so many different pseudonyms. So.
I don't know what to say on that. So we can tally up our scores.
Am I correct in thinking that the highest score we had was 1 3-pointer, which you got in the first extract?
Yeah.
And since then, it's just been 2s, 1s, and 0s.
Yeah.
It was going to be that kind of game. It was always going to be that kind of game.
It was always. It was the hardest one by far. By far.
Let me double check that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
This could be close, but that 3-pointer, maybe I was never able to catch up.
I'm not too convinced I've been consistent enough in this game, so...
I think I've been consistent with, as I've said, two numbers in particular. But yeah, we'll see. Okay. 3, 2, 1... I had a feeling. I knew it was going to be close. It was going to be close. So, I had 14 points.
I had 15.
15 points. Congratulations.
Close.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Commiserations. Good game.
GG's.
Very fun.
Yes, definitely the hardest game, I think. Especially now having sat it. I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
But we are both people who enjoy instrumental or electronic or whatever stuff. So it deserves being spoken about. Am I correct in thinking that the next game we have may also be a form of instrumental game?
Yeah. Well, I suppose it can... I guess from like the... how would I say? Like when you say the idea that we have for our next game, you might think it's just an instrumental game, but there's ways in which we can incorporate
it could be
other stuff.
A bit more than instrumental.
Yeah. But it will be along a similar-ish sort of vein.
Yeah.
But we'll be going back to our roots.
Yes, we will.
Of the whiteboard game.
Yes,
so that'll be really fun.
Nursery rhymes. Yes. I'm looking forward to that one. Not that I've thought of anything to include yet, but we'll see. So, you introduced. I'm not going to wrap up. You're going to wrap up.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for listening to us play this game. If you enjoyed it, let us know what your favourite extract was. Maybe if you have a favourite piece of music that doesn't have any vocals in it whatsoever. Do let us know, because that would be interesting. We'd love to connect with you.
Yes.
On a music
with the
level.
People.
Tell us what you like. Hopefully you've at the same time maybe discovered something new, something interesting. And unless there's anything else to say,
no. Look out for gigs as always. Look out for gigs.
Then I suppose the only thing to say,
is
Whiteboard Game.